Okay, it's look, it's gone 7 o'clock, so I'm just going to honor you people that have shown up here. Um, the call wanted to keep it about 15-20 minutes, and the purpose of the call was just basically to introduce Owen to you, and I've sent out some videos to some people. Owen is a long-term friend of mine. There, we've been on a personal development journey for many years. Um, and as I say, Owen has gone down the path of really studying financial freedom and what it takes. Um, so, has everybody on the call had a chance to take a look at any of the videos I sent out there recently? We tried to just give a bit of a sweeping overview of what Owen does. Um, it when I first met Owen and he started to speak to me about the stock market and stuff like that, I think I had I thought I had a reasonable understanding of the stock market and the inherent risks involved, etc., etc. But it was only in the setting up of a club with Owen a couple of years back, and going on a bit of a deep dive in on the strategies that Owen teaches, that I got a much better understanding of what one needs to do to actually, I suppose, in one sense, beat the system. Sticking money, buying shares and crossing your fingers and your legs and hoping they go up in value and collecting dividends is a risky business. And there's lots of other ways that we can lose our money too. So Owen has basically a tried and well-tested system for people who basically want to create a financial legacy for themselves. Is a very simple way of putting it. So look, I suppose what I'd like to do, if everybody has seen some of the short videos I've sent out there and got a sense of what we're about here, let me just throw it open to Owen, or throw it open to yourselves there. If there's no such thing as a stupid question. When I first came across it, the concept of options. Of course, I had shares and bought shares, won and lost, usually lost on the purchase of them. But when I first came across the concept of options, and CFDs and contracts for difference, all this kind of stuff there, for me, my perception of it was, this is risky stuff. So Owen, as you may have heard me said, demystified things for me, and also because of the strategies he employs, he's de-riskified it. So if anybody has any questions here, and it doesn't look, guys, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Everybody.
I have a question, Declan. I want to know what part of the world Dermot Mulcahy is in that it's still daylight when he's driving in the daylight there. Because it's pitch freaking dark here in Donegal.
It's dark in Galway as well, Owen. How are you, buddy? You well?
Good. Or there's somebody driving, is it? There's somebody with a leather jacket driving.
I just had you on missing screen there for a minute, so no worries.
Yeah. All right.
I see Shirley in the background there, straightening up the curtains that Dermot didn't pull across properly.
French way, Dick.
French way.
There you go.
Yeah, two fellow ex-fish farmers, or fish aqua.
Now, who's the guy in the leather jacket there? Who's the guy in the leather jacket?
That's Hans. That's my buddy Hans, over in San Diego.
Oh, okay. I thought that was German driving.
No, that's Hans over there. Hans runs the mafia over there in San Diego.
That's it. And we make sure that we have sun, although we have a cloudy sky. We had rain last week, so we've had a little bit of last night, not last week. But it's nice. It's nice in San Diego when it rains. I just pulled over and see if that works better. Yeah, no, we are blessed to have temperate weather here, and I feel for you guys in dark and wet and inclement Ireland. I swore early on growing up in Ireland that I would not grow old and cold at the same time. So
Old and cold. Very good.
Okay, guys. Well,
But
listen.
so I don't have that much time, Declan. I have a Toastmasters meeting starting at 20 past or half past, but I need to be there around 25 past. So
Yeah. Okay,
So
guys.
can I have a question? Can I have a
Go ahead,
quick
Hans.
question? So I learned the hard way that you focus on what you do best, and for the rest, you make a call and you write a check.
Sure.
Investing in the stock market is not what I do best. So I make a call
Sure.
and I write a check, and have my person at UBS take care of standard income or the income flow plus maintaining what I have, not losing money either. So
Sure.
why would I redirect any of my attention from my other businesses to go and become expert in your system? And what would be the perfect referral for you, for me to send you, would be looking for why?
So yeah, we've two types of clients. We have somebody who would like to learn how to do it, which I guess you're not, and then another client we have is somebody who is willing to delegate it to us. And we have a very simple formula that we offer the client. The first 10% is of growth belongs to the investor. Anything above 10%, we split 50-50. So no charges, no costs, no commissions. We can't make any money until you've made 10% growth on your money. And so let's say, for example, we help you do 12% return for the year. You keep the first 10 and we split the two. So you make 11 and we make 1%. If we help you do 20%, you make 15 and we make 5. So that's our simple relationship. And the only reason you would consider us is that if we share with you our track record, and if our track record happens to be better than your guy that does a few, you might take a second look or divert some of your stuff our way if you thought we could do a better job than your guy.
That's brilliant. That answers all my questions. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Yeah. And then for anybody else who's on the call or listen to the recording, we're very much about. We're also very keen to help people learn how you can do it for yourself. So some people join an investment club. They pitch in a small amount of money every month. They meet with us once a month on a webinar like this, and we hold their hands through the early stages, and we teach them how to identify the strongest companies in the world. We teach them to know when they're good value. And once they buy the shares, as Declan says, the third thing we do is we collect rent and generate an income. And we use income to buy more assets. And then because we have more assets, we can generate more income. So it's like a compound interest wheel where we make money 4 ways in the market. We make money from the long-term buy and hold, number 1. Number 2, we collect dividends. Number 3, we sell call options. And number 4, we sell put options. And that's basically what we do in a nutshell. I know for most people it might sound like double Dutch, but I compare it to learning to ride a bicycle or learning to swim. It seems almost impossible when you start, but once you can ride a bicycle, you can ride a bicycle for the rest of your life. Same with learning to swim. It takes a little bit of effort to learn, but once you can swim for the rest of your life. This is no different. Once you've sold a few call options, once you've sold a few put options, you can do it for the rest of your life. I've been selling options since 1996, so we've got loads of experience, but we've over 24 years experience of doing this. You don't have to make the mistakes that we made in the early days. And yes, we did make a lot of mistakes in the early days because we had no guidance, we had no mentors, we had to trial and error. But any of our members now that join our clubs and follow our system, hit the ground running, and get instant results from following our system.
Dermot has his finger up there for
thanks, Dick. Owen, how's it going? Are you well?
Good, Dermot.
Quick question, Owen. You mentioned there that you take 10 or your first 10% goes to the investor, and then you share the balance after that. If people are doing it for themselves, how does that operate? Do you sell them a course? How does that work? And second part of the question, could you have members? I know you've TICN in numbers of countries. I'm not sure how many countries you're in at this stage, but could you have a club that has members from around the world, there isn't any geographic tie down that would mean that you couldn't have people from Oz, maybe with the US, maybe with Ireland, maybe with whatever, in one club. Could that work?
Yeah, that works. We had one club once that had 13 different nations and 6 different currencies going into the club account. So yeah, we can, because it's an online virtual platform, because we meet in webinar, location is irrelevant, Dermot. So that's the second part of your question.
Sure.
The first part was, if you don't want to partner with us and you want to do it for yourself, yes, we do deliver education. We do empower you to be able to do it for yourself. And our education comes in 2 forms. One is an online platform where you do the modules online. There's 8 modules. Each module is about 90 minutes. Or if you prefer face-to-face training, we have, as you said, we've investment clubs in 50 different countries, 15 different languages. So we're always somewhere at least once or twice a year in a country near you. So typically in Ireland, we would do maybe 2 or 3 seminars a year in our offices in Temple Bar. We have a boardroom there in Temple Bar. So our next seminar is on the 21st and 22nd of February.
Okay. And could I just add on to that, so you could have a club which is members from around the world, but are there any, how would if you have different currencies coming in, is there any tax implication on different currencies going into a common pot or anything like that?
No, there's no tax implications. The investment club is a beautiful structure, Jim, because it is a partnership in law. That's why it has to be 20 members or less. And the beauty about a partnership in law is that each individual is responsible for his or her own tax affairs. And if one rogue member doesn't do his returns or her returns, it does not negatively impact on any other member. So everybody is responsible for themselves. So it doesn't matter if we have different countries, different currencies. We pick a common denominator. So typically we say €100 a month or €200 a month, and people will then do every month approximately what is the same, and then on the 12th month, whatever difference there is, they'll put that little bit extra in or that little bit less in to balance the books on the 12th month.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
You're very welcome. Great questions.
Jim has the finger up there.
Yes, Jim, go ahead.
It's kind of diving into the question you just answered with Dermot there. Do you know how you're saying how you can go into one of the clubs where you put in, say, 100 a month, hypothetically, say 100 a month, and you're looking after that, and you grow by, say, 10%, anything up to 10% is for myself, and anything over that is split between us. Well, with that, like if we're in with that, that's just putting the control in, the ball in your court to look after that. But as you're saying, can we learn through that as well, or do we have to go out separate on our own to learn about the market that way?
Yeah, so let me just clarify. I didn't explain myself clear enough there. So the first 10% arrangement, that'll be more or less for people that have a big lump sum. We don't do that 10% arrangement with the smaller clubs that put in 100 or 200 a month. The way we benefit from the smaller clubs is we actually own 5% free equity stake. So every club we have around the world, the smaller clubs as we call them, that put in 100 euros or 200 a month, they own 95% of it and we own 5% of it. But we only get a return on that 5% shareholding if and when the clubs either fold and divide out the ownership, or when they get to a big lump sum and they start to pay out dividends. So that's very smart for the club because they lock us in as the 20th member for the long-term support, meaning that we know we can't get a dividend unless the club does well. In fact, if the club is not profitable, our 5% does not count. It's null and void. So yeah, the club is very much about you learning how to do it for yourself. It's very much about, in the beginning, we know everything and you know nothing, but eventually through repetition and through observation, once you see once a month the trading going on, because we typically meet 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening when the market is still open. 4 o'clock in New York is 9 o'clock in Ireland, so we meet at 7 with another 2 hours to go. So you'll see us doing the trades online. You'll see us collecting the rent. So just by repetition, and even if you can't be at the meeting live, you get a copy of the recording. So you'll eventually, by repetition, get the hang of it. And yes, you will want to do some education as well. So what we say to everybody when you join Investment Club is that we give you 3 months to be in the club to kind of test the system for yourself and get comfortable with it. and if after 3 months your decision is to stay long term, and this is very much a long term project, you need to be looking at this as a sort of 5, 7, 10-year project. If you decide after 3 months you like it and you want to stay, then you are expected to become eventually able to run the club yourself. So typically it will take us 2 to 3 years for clubs to be self-reliant and to be able to make their own decisions and do their own trades. But between 0 to 3 years, we hold their hands and make sure they're doing everything the right way.
Jim, just to clarify what Owen said there, and I think it's an important point. The club actually keeps all of the profit. Owen has one position in there. So if there's 20, if the club is maxed out at 20 members, Owen is the 20th member, and you have 19 other members. But the club keeps all the accumulation, all the profits. The first 10% is where Owen manages the fund. So if somebody is 25 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand or $1 million, which he has many clients like that, where they don't want to learn how to do it. They want Owen to manage the fund. That's where the 10%, the first 10% comes in, and then anything above 10% is split 50-50.
Yeah, and just with the, as you're saying, is a monthly call for the club, say, as you know, with the 5% ones, and then we just kind of, whoever's there wants to, come in, research, ask questions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a monthly webinar once a month, because every month we put in a fresh €100 each, or the club members put in a fresh €100 each. So every time we meet, we have to decide how we're going to invest the fresh money that came in during the month. Plus, if we've collected rent during the month, we've got some rent to reinvest as well. So, yes, we would meet once a month, typically at a regular time. So it'll always be something like the 4th Monday or the 2nd Tuesday or the 3rd Wednesday, whatever regular time and day that the club members, that suits the majority of the club members. So if you can't be at the meeting for whatever reason, if you're on holidays or tied up at work, you can get a copy of the recording as well. So you don't need to miss out on anything.
Oh, and I know you have to go now in a minute. Hans asked a very good question earlier, just in connection with what would be a good referral for you.
Yeah, so a good referral for me, Hans, would be somebody who's got a lump sum, who a significant amount of money in the bank that's basically not making any money because there's very low interest rates, or somebody who is with a broker and is currently only getting single-digit returns, like if they're only getting 5 or 6 or 7%. They're an excellent referral for us, because they recognize very quickly that they must make the first 10% before we can benefit from the relationship. And we wouldn't offer 10% if we didn't think we could make more than 10%. So a good referral for me is somebody who's a lump sum that's not really working hard enough for them.
So then, demographic-wise, what are your demographics?
It doesn't. You mean like age profile?
Yeah, age, really like the age demographic. Clearly, there's less tolerance for risk for the people who are closer to retirement or in retirement, rather than the young guy who can afford to lose everything and start all over again. So obviously you would choose the appropriate financial vehicle for each of those age groups. But for the people that you're dealing with, what are their age demographics?
Yeah, so I guess the average age of our members would be maybe I'm looking at kind of 40, 35 to 45 maybe would be the average age. When people realize that they're not making progress and they want to, fast forward their accumulation of wealth and their generation of income. So yeah, that would be a typical. And like you say, it's only when people are between age 35 and 45 they've managed to accumulate a decent lump sum as well.
Okay, that helps me a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm just conscious of the time here. I know Owen needs to go.
I'm okay. I'm actually stuck in traffic here, so I haven't got to the venue yet. I've got another 5 minutes, Declan.
Okay, fair enough. Like Owen is more than willing and open to, if anybody wants any deeper information on this, we jump on a Zoom, share, pull the curtains back a little bit, show you some, examples of existing clubs, show you some examples of, of the types of returns, show you some of the shares that the people are investing in, show you some of the some of the options. So the whole thing is totally transparent. And what I love about
Yeah.
what Owen does here is you're in control of the money. It's not like the money
Yeah.
goes, you hand the money over to Owen. It's in an account that you set up, and you're just giving Owen access to be able to trade the shares that you purchase. To be able to.
But the investor has the final say in everything. They have the final say in all decisions. At the end of the day, they have full control of the money, which in a way is risky for us, because we could help you make a ton of money, and then you could choose not to pay us. So you have full and absolute control of your money. I'm not suggesting you would do that, but that's the de facto. You do have full control and final say over everything. What I would say to anybody listening to the call is that, as Declan says, you're welcome to sit in on any of our investment clubs as an observer, as part of your due diligence. You're welcome to do that. And for yourself, is Jim that's in Westport there, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jim, you're welcome to check out the Covey Club. It's Damon that organised me to give a talk. I think it was about 7 or 8 months ago. We went down to Damien's office there, just on the way into Westport, and we gave a wee talk to some of his people that works for him, and some of his relatives like Paul Langan and Nicola Langan. They've got the place there in town where they do
The wellness centre. I know Nicole.
The wellness centre, yeah. Well, in fact, we actually did the talk. We were going to do the talk in Damien's office, but the crowd was too big, so we ended up doing the talk upstairs in the wellness centre. So yeah, there is a club up and running, Covey Club Westport. I think they have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 members there. They're not going that long, so to catch up with everybody, it might be 900 or 1,000 just to catch up with everybody. And if your cash flow is tight, what you can do is invest €200 a month until you've caught up with everybody, and then go back down to €100 a month. But yeah, that'd be ideal club for you, because most of the lads are in Westport there.
Oh yeah, would I be best just to contact Damien about it and ask him what the story is on it, or
in fact, you can email Anna at TICN.ie. That's Anna with one N, ANA, Apple November Apple, ANA, at T for Tango, I for Indigo, C for Charlie.
I think you have it on your, yeah. You have it on then the video that Declan sent out last day, so I'll get from that.
Brilliant. So if you pop an email to Anna at TICN.ie, she will sort out the paperwork for you, because everybody has to fill in the proper paperwork to prove that they're a legal owner of the share in the club. So you got to provide a passport or a driving license, a photographic ID. You got to provide a utility bill, a proof of address, and your social security number. That means all of your deeds on the club paperwork. So if anything happens, you God forbid, everything passes on to your next of kin as well.
Yeah. No, it's something that TICN is something I've been looking at for years, but I didn't realize you could go in and learn through the club side of things. So it is something I've been looking into for the last couple of years. But I just found at the time the training overall, say doing individually, was a bit too expensive for me. So this was just actually a very interesting way to learn while, as you're saying, learn by doing.
Great stuff. Okay, it looks like Owen is frozen there. Look, guys, if anybody has any further questions or would like to have a chat with Owen, privately, and just have a little, as I say, a deeper dive or deeper look into it, feel free to contact me, and we'll organise that. So yeah, without further ado, I think we'll just call it a wrap. Thank you again for your time, for jumping on there. And again, as I say, it's this is something that I've been involved with, and I've obviously just asked Owen to speak to some of my contact some of my friends, and obviously there's a lot of people out there sitting on either shitty pensions, my age, or they're sitting on assets that are not giving them a return. So this is just, as I said, an option to take a look at. And see if it sits, see if it resonates. So that's it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Declan. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks, Declan.
Have a good one. Bye.
Jumping on.
Thank
See you guys.
Talk
Thanks
soon.
all.
Take care. All the best. Take care.